Now let's move on to create a brute force password cracking program in Python. So the first thing we need to do is create a new file, and what we will then do is we'll need to import some libraries to make sure this program will work correctly. So the first thing we need to do is import the socket library. This socket library will be used for the connection to the FTP socket, etc. So to do that, we type in import socket, and that will give us the socket library imported into Python. Then we also need to import the RE library, which is for regular expressions. And then we need to import one more module or library, which is basically for the storing of passwords. So it's the import the sys library, and this will be for reading the passwords, storing the passwords, manipulating the passwords, etc. So this is the import sys, which will be the systems library. Before we start creating the actual function, here you see the 3 modules that will be required by our program. So the next thing I want to do is define a function called connection. This will be the connection which sends the IP address, the username, and password. So connection is the function name, and within brackets I put IP, comma, user, comma, pass. Now basically this is the function called connection that will then send the IP address or connect to the IP address with a specific user and password. I've just noticed that password is throwing a small error, and that's because password is a reserved word for Python. So what I'll do is just change pass to PASSW to reflect that it is not a reserved word and a parameter that we can use in our program. Now I want to declare something for the socket. So SOCK equals socket dot socket, and within brackets I want to select a parameter for the IPv4 IP addresses and also for the TCP ports. So for that I need to type in socket dot f underscore inet. So let's go in here and type in socket dot af underscore inet. That will be listed in the list below. So let's look that up and make sure the spelling is correct. Yes, af underscore inet will give us the IPv4 IP addresses, and we also need something for TCP ports. So what we do here is we put a comma and then we type in socket dot, and we want to do a socket stream. So to do that we type in socket, and let's look at the options here that will show us for the TCP ports, and you see it says SOCK underscore stream, which will be for the TCP ports. So here we have a declaration for the TCP ports and for finding IPv4 IP addresses. Let's go on to now print a message to the screen, and what we want to do is print something that says which username, which IP address, which password are we trying. So we want to print something in quotes that says trying, and what we then want to report back is what IP address are we trying, what user are we trying, and what password are we trying. So try